don't have any from 208. That's a miracle. That is a dadgum miracle. All right, let's go into the big one. Okay. Hey, I got fifth. That's pretty dadgum good. Menard got first. Wow. Whiteface. Good heavens. That's very interesting. But pretty much Menard was the best. Okay. Okay. I knew it was going to be you. You're always there first, so, and next to me. So, well, I checked, and Crosbyton got fifth in state in marching contest. So
Oh, really?
they didn't get the results till what time last night? They weren't even given the results till like midnight last night. Yeah. So, which I think is ridiculous. Those poor 1A. They marched in the morning, then they had to leave, and the 5As came in and took up the bulk of the afternoon. So they didn't get to start marching until like 8:30 last night. Good morning, Abernathy. How's it going? Yeah. So, let's see here. Texting, yes, I'm gonna ask for split screen. We're having some issues. It's not automatically splitting. It did split? Awesome. Okay. We aren't gonna see Crosbyton. I was just telling JC here that they got fifth in state marching last night, and it was like very early this morning from, when I was checking the, schedule. They didn't even give out the results of state marching until they performed at 9:30 last night, so probably 10:30. There's no way they got even any close to their hotel rooms until late, so. But, I just sent an email to congratulate the kids on it, because I think that's awesome. So, and there were only 7 bands that went to finals, so, interesting. So, hopefully you've got access to your textbook today. So we need that. We're gonna go look over, I'm gonna read you the professional, it's a professional essay. And then there are 10 questions, and I'm gonna have you guys answer them at Lorenzo, and obviously Crosbyton won't be answering them. But the thing to realize is that when the Langen text gives you, where is it? I've got it here somewhere. Nope, there we go. When you have the questions after the readings, they divide them, they begin with unity. That'll be the first section. Then they ask about support. Then they go to coherence. And then the last one focuses on introductions and conclusions. So you have 4 sections. So I would go with the notion that on the quiz on Friday, you're gonna have those same sections. They're not, I checked, they're not the same questions that are in the textbook over the sample reading. I actually pulled out my hard copy, because it's a lot easier to flip around in. Because they do, those questions over those 2 readings, which are, teenagers and jobs, and once over lightly, local TV news, there are 10 questions, but they are not the same. I thought, I better check that just so I'll know. Yeah, it makes sense to do it. So, but your model essay begins on page, 379. It says 380 in there, because it begins on 380 in the textbook. It's up like a page off. So if I give you a page number and it's slightly off, don't freak out. It's gonna be one before or one after. It just depends on, I guess, what kind of day they're having. So, today's the 3rd. Okay. So, we need to have out a copy of the textbook, whatever computer. My biggest issue is I think the phone is a handicap when you're trying to read in the textbook and answer questions, because you have such a limited view. That's why a computer is better. But I've got one guy on my Tuesday, Thursday class, and all he uses is his phone. And so he's constantly doing this. So it's, what it is. So, but it's actually on 379. I'm gonna go through. I will update this so that next year my numbers will be better. And I actually went in and checked them, so. And there are spelling errors in the e-text, which I find very interesting. You're enjoying reading JC's reading her comments, so.
Well, I can't believe I misspelled your name.
Yeah, she misspelled my name in the heading. Yeah. What, you put
I
Psalm.
definitely didn't do that.
Psalms pun. Yeah. Hey, I misspell it too. And I won't even tell you how many times I misspell the word student. Yeah, I spell student studnet all the time. So, all right, a model essay to consider. Okay, you guys in yet? I'll give you just a second. Okay. And you just type in 379, and I've got it blown up so big so I can see. The plug is right in front of your computer. The outlet, not the plug. Boy, am I old. Or is there one on the other side too? Yeah, there's 2? Oh, wow. Normally, these buildings are retrofitted, so a lot of times, particularly over in Building 3, there are not enough outlets in the rooms. There's like one on each wall. And we take up 2 outlets just for the computer for the instructors. Okay, so hopefully you're on it. This is by Edward Berger. It's the essay on the importance of teaching failure. Now, that sounds like, as a top, when you're reading something, you should always consider the title. So, the importance of failure. There's a wonderful poem that Emily Dickinson wrote, and it basically says that people who never fail don't know the true meaning of winning, of being the victor. And so, having, been a Texas Tech football supporter for many years, I've got failure down, when it comes to that at least. But, have you ever felt like whatever you support is always, for some reason, like you're the jinx? Sometimes I have that feeling. I know I'm not. I had nothing to do with they didn't play they don't play this week. I have nothing to do with that game last week, so. All right, essay on the importance of failure. What can we conclude when undergraduates bemoan, how did anyone ever come up with this stuff? And as I was reading, I thought, that's kind of confusing. Although the students might feel confused or bedazzled, there's one thing for certain. The instructor jumped over the requisite missteps that originally led to the discovery at hand. Do we really think, and so I'm going to stop really quick. So what we've got going on here is we've got this little anecdote. There's a little story happening up here. And, you go into, and you're teaching, and you act like coming up with these ideas and these new revolutionary things happen like that. But having taught at a STEM school, the whole process of learning and researching and experimenting you're going to have failures. And we need to learn how to fail. There's nothing worse than, as an English teacher, I have kids in high school go, I made A's in high school. Well, welcome to college. It doesn't work that way. You may not fail, but you're not going to make all those A's you thought you made. Okay? This type of intellectual revisionism often depicts weighty concepts and conclusions as slick and sanitized, and as a result, foreign and intangible. Basically saying that they clean up history of what happened by making it seem like everything was easy. Like Nobel, isn't it Nobel who discovered TNT? Wasn't he the guy that manufactured TNT? Whatever it is. Okay. But, obviously, every time you try something new, it's like when you're practicing, I know basketball's coming up. We're still playing football, but basketball's coming up. But when you first start playing basketball, you're learning to shoot with the opposite hand. So you have to practice dribbling with your left hand, and then you have to practice going, I was taught bounce, bounce, step, step, and shoot. That's how you learn to lay up. And I spent hours in my backyard doing that, and a lot of times I didn't make it. But after about a week solid of doing that, I learned how to do it. I failed many times. So that's interesting what he's saying there, that we clean up history so it seems like it was easy to do these things when it really wasn't. In reality, every idea from every discipline is a human idea that comes from a natural, thoughtful, and ideally unending journey in which thinkers deeply understand the current state of knowledge, take a tiny step in a new direction, almost immediately hit a dead end, learn from that misstep, and through iteration, which is the repetition, inevitably move forward. That recipe for success is not just a secret formula for original scholarly discovery, but also for wise, everyday thinking for the entire population. Hence, it is important to explicitly highlight how essential those dead ends and mistakes are. That is, to teach students the power of failure and how to fail effectively. Individuals need to embrace the realization that taking risk and failing are often the essential moves necessary to bring clarity, understanding, and innovation. By making a mistake, we are led to a pivotal question. Why was that wrong? And so a lot of times, that's like I tell you guys, that's why you write a draft, so that if you get it wrong, you won't make that mistake on the final, hopefully. By answering this question, we are intentionally placing ourselves in a position to develop a new insight and to eventually succeed. But how do we foster such a critical habit of mind in our students who are hardwired to avoid failure at all costs? Answer, just assess it. Give failure a grade. That's interesting, isn't it? For the last decade or so, I've put my students' grades where my mouth is. Instead of just touting the importance of failing, I now tell students that if they want to earn an A, they must fail regularly throughout the course of the semester, because 5% of their final grade is based on their quality of failure. Would such a scheme provoke a change in attitude? Absolutely. With this grading practice in place, students gleefully take more risk and energetically engage in discussions. Okay. And when a student, say Aaron, makes a mistake in class, he exclaims, "Oh, well, my quality of failure grade today is really high." The class laughs and then quickly moves to the serious next step, answering, "Why was that wrong?" It's not enough to console an incorrect response with a nurturing, "Oh, Aaron, that's not quite right, but we still think you're the best." Sounds like elementary school, doesn't it? Everybody's, you failed, but hey, it's positive. Now, does anyone else have another guess? Instead, a mistake solicits either the enthusiastic yet honest response, "Congratulations, Aaron, that's wrong." Now, what lesson or insight is Aaron offering us? Or the class question, "What do you think? Is Aaron correct?" You can, argue. Either way, the students have to actively listen and then react, while Aaron sees his comment as an important element that allows the discussion to move forward. I often refer back again and again to someone's previous mistake to celebrate just how significant it was. If we foster an environment in our classrooms in which failing is a natural and necessary component in making progress, then we allow our students to release their own genius and share their authentic ideas, even if, or especially when, those ideas aren't quite polished or perfectly formed. After returning a graded assignment and reviewing the more challenging questions, I ask students to share their errors, and the class immediately comes to life. Everyone wants to show off their mistakes as they now know they are offering valuable learning moments. What's more, in this receptive atmosphere, it's actually fun to reveal those promising gems of an idea that turned out to be counterfeit. More recently, I've asked my students to intentionally fail in the spirit of an industrial stress test. I now require my students to write a first draft of an essay very quickly and poorly, long before its due date, and then have the students use that lousy draft as a starting point for the hopefully lengthy iterative process of revising and editing. When the work is due, they must submit not only their final version, but also append their penultimate draft, all marked up with their own red ink. This strategy assures that they will produce at least one intermediate draft before the final version. Not surprisingly, the quality of the work improved dramatically. When I consult with or lead workshops for faculty and administrators, they are drawn to this principle of intentionally promoting failure, which inevitably leads to the question, how do you assess it? The first time I tried my 5% quality of failure, I had no idea how to grade it, but I practiced what I preached, taking a risk and being willing to fail in the noble cause of teaching students to think more effectively. I passionately believe that assessment concerns should never squelch any creative pedagogical experiment. Try it today and figure out how to measure it tomorrow. In the case of assessing quality of failure at the end of the semester, I asked my students to write a one-page reflective essay describing their productive failure in the course and how they have grown from those episodes, which might have occurred outside of class, including false starts and fruitful iterations. They conclude their essay by providing their own grade on how they have evolved through failure and mistakes, from 0 meaning I never failed, or I learned nothing from failing, to 10 meaning I created and understood in profound new ways from my failed attempts. I read their narratives, reflect on their class participation and willingness to take risks, and then usually award them the surprisingly honest and restrained grades they gave themselves. To date, I've never had a student complain about their quality of failure grade. To my skeptical colleagues who wonder if this grading scheme can be exploited as a loophole to reward unprepared students, I remind them that we should not create policies in the academy that police students. Instead, we should create policies that add pedagogical value and create educational opportunity. A bunch of jargon from education in there. And with respect to my grading failure practice, I found no such abuse at the 3 institutions in which I've employed it: Williams College, the University of Colorado at Boulder, and Baylor University. On the contrary, if implemented correctly, you will see your students more engaged, more prepared, and more thoughtful in class discussions and in life. Beyond the subject matter contained in the 32 to 48 courses that typical undergraduates fleetingly encounter, our students' education centers about the most important creative feat of their lives, the creation of themselves. Creating a mind enlivened by curiosity and the intellectual audacity to take risk and create new ideas, a mind that sees a world of unlimited possibilities. So we as educators and scholars should constantly be asking ourselves, have I taught my students how to successfully fail? And if not, then what am I waiting for? Okay, so there are 10 questions. I want you all to answer them. Okay? And, and just to tell you, you may not end your essays with a question. You are not a professional writer, okay? We got to make sure we can write at a certain level. Then, when we get great at it, then we can take chances. So if you'll answer questions 1 through 10, and I don't have the answers. I'm answering them at the same time, okay? And if you two want to work together, that's not a problem. Or if you want to work on your own, that's okay.
Who watches?
Okay. Ooh. Now somebody gonna be on to state cross country, awesome. Okay.
No, let's watch it. Look at it.
Got so many things up here, it's hard to keep track of everything. Mhm. Oh, I heard back from Dr. Pettit at Crosbyton, and he said, so there must be somewhere where he's at least, probably, well, it doesn't say if he's on his phone. So. Ooh. Let's see, hold on a second. Just making sure I'm talking to the right person. Skylar, let's just make it up, I hate to put, well, you can, I'm gonna open up all of those quizzes the week before finals for people to make up ones they missed because of whatever reason. I'm being generous. And just let you make it up then, okay? Otherwise, if I open it up, you know, it creates this kind of black hole of people thinking, oh, I don't have to take it right now, I can take it later. But good luck at state cross country, okay? Exciting. Okay. I gotta finish answering questions. Whew. 7's a harder one. give you just a couple more minutes, okay? Are you done? What do you think? I think it's a good article. And explains almost as good as, Born to be Different. Did you notice that I got through week 13 done in the content? Which is Thanksgiving week, which is, was real easy to get done. Good, we're gonna do some more grammar work. You finished? Is everybody done? Are you still working? I know, I see, Lorenzo, somebody's hitting somebody. I saw a hand go like this. Tell me the answer, right? Backed up on my mom. Okay, let's see, let's go over here to 3, so I can hear you guys. And we'll see how it goes. I've got a lot of things here. And this is a case of, I don't have the right answers. I don't know why Lane and the textbook, they never give us teacher ones, instructional ones that have the answers in them. We just have to do it on our own, which I guess is good, to show that we need to do that kind of work also. So the first question is, what is the thesis of Berger's essay? If it is stated directly, locate the relevant sentence or sentences. If it is implied, state the thesis in your own words. So let's just start with, let's just go with Rayleigh over at Abernathy. What do you think? Is it stated directly, or or is it implied, the thesis?
It's stated directly.
Okay, she said it was stated directly. I know Lorenzo can hear her. I have to repeat it so my students here can. Where did you find it, Rayleigh?
The last sentence of the second paragraph.
That is correct. She found it in the last sentence in the second paragraph. Do y'all see that? It says, hence, it is important to explicitly highlight how essential those dead ends mistakes are. That is, to teach students the power of failure and how to fail effectively. Okay, good answer. Thank you, Raylan. All right. Question number 2. This is a lot easier than moving my computer over, I have to say also. Which statement would best serve as the topic sentence for paragraphs 5 and 6? Ariel, over at Lorenzo, what do you think? Which one did you pick?
I chose letter B.
She chose B, which is helping students celebrate effective failure helps them learn. Nod your head if you think that was right. See, I'm nodding my head, okay. All right, good. This is going well.
No one's supposed to be there.
Because you have to realize, one of the things you may realize then is that when you're reading a professional essay, they can change the rules. You know, that's like having the 2-paragraph introduction. I really don't want you guys to do 2-paragraph introductions. I want you to focus on writing your basic essay, and once you get better, go for it, okay? Question 3. Let's just see. Let's go with JC, okay? Which statement would best serve as a topic sentence for paragraph 10? Let's see. You said by examining their successes in honest, reflective essays, students are able to demonstrate their growth. Is this about successes? No. Hold on. I have a spam risk from Floydada again. I don't know what's going on with that. Why did he? You know what? The phone call is probably, we were calling about your expired vehicle warranty. Okay. So look again. Okay. So that's a failure.
I don't know if I
Okay.
pick that one because it doesn't make sense.
Well, but by examining their successes in honest, reflective essays. So you picked up on the honest, reflective essays, okay? Which is what 10 is about. But is it about successes?
I thought it was to be shot between D and C.
D and C? Students are assigned to write a 1-page reflective essay so they can fully understand the nature of failure. Is it about the nature of failure? See, there's that clue in there, the nature of failure. Let's look at all of them. Students are required to grade themselves on their quality of failure, and their grades are usually honest and correct. Students are required to grade themselves on their quality of failure, but their grades are often inflated. That's not that one for sure. So they're assigned to write a 1-page reflective essay so they can fully understand the nature of failure. Let's go look at that one. So I asked my students to write a 1-page reflective essay describing their productive failure in the course and how they have grown from those episodes, which might have occurred outside of class, including false starts and peripheral iterations. They conclude their essays by providing their own things. So, and it goes on and says, it tells you how 0, what this is, and 10, and all that. And then it says, I read their narratives, reflect on their class participation, and then usually award them the surprisingly honest and restrained grades. So when you look at everything that's going on in there, what do you think? So are they fully understanding the nature of failure? No, that's not what's happening in there. What's happening in there is A. Okay, do you see that? Or do you disagree? You can disagree with me. We're talking failure. It's all right, Zach. Do you think it should be C?
No, I mean, I went with JC, but, I can see where A is the correct answer.
Again, the problem with D is it's about successes. And the paragraph is not about reflecting on your successes, but reflecting on your failures. Okay? So, do you see why A starts better? What do you guys think? Okay, if you think it's A, raise your hand. And it doesn't matter if you don't have to agree with me. If you think it's B, raise your hand. I don't see any hands up.
Yeah.
How about C? Okay, you're still going with that one. Okay, but, and so do you see?
Oh, no, I was saying they're all going like this.
You're holding it up like so people don't know what you're doing. Hold up a finger. Oh, don't hold up that finger. That's the wrong thing to do. Okay. So, and again, I could be wrong. I'm just going by what's covered in the paragraph, okay? And again, I don't think that nature of failure's in there. And we know D can't be it because it's about successes, not failures. Okay, so Abernathy, I'm coming back to one of you, so pay attention. Which statement best expresses the implied point in paragraph 2, which is the one where you get the thesis text? So let's see. Let's see. Jesus, how about you?
C?
C. Jesus said C on number 4, which is students need to be taught how to fail because it is the key to true scholarly discovery. Okay, who all thinks it's C? Raise your hand. Raise your hand where I can see it. Hold them up in the air. Hallelujah. Right, we're sure. Okay. All right, so I'm saying, Lorenzo, what do you guys think? You're kind of there, just kind of, come on. Alejandro, you don't have your arm in a sling. Are you doing better? Awesome. That's good to hear, since you had surgery. Okay. All right, I agree. It's C, okay? And again, I'm not the be-all and end-all authority on this, but I probably can make a 90 out of 100, 90 out of 100, which would be getting one wrong. All right, 5 goes to Lorenzo. Why does the author ask students to intentionally fail? So let's see. Alejandro, since you're there, and you raised your hand, you're looking so blue today. You gotta find the mic. What do you think is the answer?
B?
B. Alejandro says B on 5. Let's see what B is. He deliberately promotes contradictory ideas to what he actually teaches in the classroom. Okay. How many people agree? How many think it's B? Raise your hand, big. Anybody think it's B? Ooh. Yeah, well, the Lorenzo kids are back hey, they got your back, Alejandro. Let's just say it. Okay. And if your name was Aaron, you might say, I failed successfully because nobody at Abernathy and nobody at SPC supported you. So, look at what, okay, his teaching style is contrarian, so he approaches learning from an atypical point of view, and that just sounds like that sounds like it's got wordy educational stuff in it trying to confuse you, to be honest. We talked about he deliberately promotes contradictory ideas. Is he promoting contradictory ideas? That's the problem in this sentence, okay? C says he wants students to understand what failure looks like so they can avoid the experience of failure in the future. I agree with the first part, but does he want them to avoid the experience of failure in the future? Is that anywhere in? That's not in there. We have to fail all the time, right? He wants students to free themselves from the need to be perfect all the time so they are more open to learning. Now, so you have to stop and really think about what's going on in the sentences. You can't just look at the first half of it. You have to look at all of it. So, does anybody think it's A? All right, so we know B is only popular at Lorenzo, and I'm not saying it's a bad answer, I'm just saying it's maybe not the best answer. Okay, so C, he wants them to understand what failure looks like. JC, you were kind of favoring that one. Okay, and so they can avoid the experience of failure in the future. And then the last one, he wants them to free themselves from the need to be perfect all the time. Who thinks it's D? Raise your hands. Come on, give me some show. Come on, Abernathy, you can't be that tired, can you?
Which one did you say?
You're still?
No.
You're saying not C now? Okay. So, in fact, doesn't he actually actually use the phrase about being perfect in here somewhere. It's paragraph 3, individuals need to embrace the realization that taking risk and failing are often the essential moves necessary to bring clarity, understanding, and innovation. Students who are hardwired to avoid failure at all costs, how do you deal with that? So I am of the opinion that it's D. He wants students to free themselves from the need to be perfect all the time. Because we're all geared, particularly in high school, because, man, you gotta have that grade to be in the top, so you can be valedictorian, salutatorian, historian, whatever Orion you're gonna be. So you can get the scholarship money, okay? And as a result, and I find this in that sophomore lit class that I have, that you have students who want to know exactly what was the correct, absolutely correct answer on that, and you're like, well, you would have had it right, but you used one word in your sentence that made it slightly wrong. So I can't teach them, they just want to know, give me the right answer so that I will get it right the next time I take the test. And I'm not going to do that. It's like, yeah, it's kind of right. I don't want to count it all wrong because you get part of it right. And seeing as I'm grading all this stuff from them right now and grading your papers. So you got mine, I'm D on that one. So now we come back to JC and Zach. On number 6, which of the following best defines the author's phrase, quality of failure? What do you think, Zach? You can go first.
I think it would be
D, a student's ability to fix his or her mistake.
or A, my bad, I switched to A, right.
A student's ability to accept a failing grade.
I'll take B.
JC picks B, a student's ability to learn from a failing grade. And I think the problem here is that it says failing grade. If I were to phrase it as incorrect answer on both of those, what do you think there? Which of the following best defines the author's phrase quality of failure? A student's ability to accept an incorrect answer, a student's ability to learn from an incorrect answer, a student's ability to take academic risk, and a student's ability to fix his or her mistakes.
Well, they misspelled take.
Well, and what's really interesting, it's not misspelled in the textbook. So you got hung up on the misspelling of the word take. I don't know how that happened. It should be this page, take, something, but there's all kinds of little computer glitches going on. Okay, so you're saying A or D, which one?
A.
A, a student's ability to accept a failing grade or an incorrect answer, or being told you got something wrong, okay? Their ability to accept that. A student's ability to learn from a failing grade, okay? Anybody pick B, a student's ability to learn from a failing grade? Hands, come on, help me out. I can't hear you that well, so, all right, Abernathy says, yeah, we're learning from those failing grades, okay? JC, are you B?
I pick B.
Okay. It's not ability to take academic risks. I see that all the time when I say, and one of those risks I encounter is that when I tell kids, I tell you early in the semester, don't use questions when you write for me, and you still use them. That's an academic risk, okay? I'm just telling you. When the teacher says, don't do something, and you continue to do it, you're taking an academic risk, okay? And their ability to fix his or her mistakes, this is not about fixing the mistakes. It's about learning from your mistakes. When you stick your hand on the hot stove, right, as a little kid, you learn not to touch the stove because it might be hot and burn your hand, right? So we learn from our mistakes. But it's like when we get into high school, we don't want to learn from them, just give me the right answer. So if I'm ever asked that question again, I can get it right. So it's actually going to be B. Okay. All right, number 7, that goes back to Abernathy. Berger uses time order as his primary means of organization in this essay. Find 4 examples of time signals. So, let's just see. Kylie, are you there? Over at Abernathy? Wave at me. Way back there. Is that really Kylie or is that somebody pretending to be Kylie? I can't tell. All right, give me one, Kylie. One time signal, okay? and the paragraph if you thought about writing that down. I did, so.
Most recently, for the last decade.
Most recently, or was it more recently?
More
I
recently.
thought more recently in paragraph 8. That's a time, recent means in the near past, right? That's a time signal, okay? How about Leah over at Abernathy? Give me a different one.
After.
After, okay, there's one. What paragraph was that in?
Seven.
I don't worry about that one. Don't worry, after's okay. That is the timeline. How about, Carly?
For the last decade.
What did you say?
For the last decade.
For the last decade. That's obviously a time signal, isn't it? So it's not always gonna be then and next. You're gonna see this actual word. And then I need one more. I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna do it. I found in paragraph 10, at the end of the semester. That would be a very obvious time signal, okay? So that's what we're talking about. It's not always gonna be first, second, then last. Finally. Those are actually all kinds of time signals, okay? And 8, paragraph 11, Berger acknowledges an opposing point of view when he addresses his skeptical colleagues. So, see how he's acknowledging in his argument and essay the opposing side? What sentence in that paragraph contains a change of direction? Lucero. Just give me the first few words.
Can you repeat that? You cut out.
Say that again?
Can you repeat that? You cut out.
We're talking about paragraph 11. A change of direction is going to be something like instead, however. Oh, I have to say, I was grading somebody in this class's paper, and they had in their sentence, one of their sentences, they had, but however. Okay, but is the opposite, however is the opposite, so with but however, you went back to the first thing. So you don't ever put but and however together. I just thought I'd throw that out there. So you're looking for something that says the opposite. So when you're doing that, Lucero, look at the sentence. What is this paragraph? I got the right paragraph. It says, it begins, it's paragraph 8. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one, question 8. In paragraph 11, it says, on the contrary. Do you see how that's the opposite? Contrary is the opposite of what you're doing, okay? Got it, Lucero? Number 9, I'm just going to do these because we're running out of time. Berger's introduction consists of 2 very brief paragraphs. Which statement best describes the style of his introduction? You actually have to do 2. Wait, no. Yeah. A, it presents an anecdote that is related to the topic of why students need to learn to fail. And B, it presents a point of view about failure.
Your conference is scheduled to end in 2 minutes.
In the essay. Those 2 things go on in that first paragraph. And let's see. And then 10, which of these best describes the conclusion of the essay on the importance of teaching failure? It leaves the reader with a thought-provoking essay when it says,